right? 2,000 shots, 3-hour stalemate with student snipers. If you have student snipers, is that a riot or a rebellion? What makes it a rebellion?
Because they had a plan.
They had to have a plan, right? Positions, right? Niggas don't have snipers in a riot.
Shit.
Come on now. Yes.
That you know. Oh.
Yes.
My question was the TSU 5 that was on the slide before.
Yes.
Those were the students like who died during this riot.
Yes.
And then the rest of like the 500, they were just like injured or
Yes.
not just.
But yes. Right? 500 students, right? So imagine you staying in your dorm, you hear 2,000 shots go, I'll be like, what is that? The police kick your door down, they make you march outside. This is the middle of the night, right? You in your jammies, you got your hair tied up, chilling with no makeup on. Right?
No.
Imagine that, put yourself in that situation, right? If somebody can do this to you without resistance, without sort of any kind of consequence, right? That means the space you occupy is not yours to control. You have zero control over anything around you. That's what it means to be in an enemy-held and contested zone. In the morning, resentment resonated from the student body. What can you expect? One student told reporters, to them, we are just apes. There's one idea, among a plethora of ideas that I want us to understand, is that we cannot expect humane treatment from somebody who does not see us worthy of humane treatment. Right? And Amos Wilson talks about this. He says that the white man, the enemy, calls African savages so he can behave in a savage way to them. Right? They call us these things, they put these labels on us, these names on us so that they can treat us as such. If we were the last names of slave owners, they don't look at us as people, they look at us as their property. Right? What happens if what happens if you on your phone right now, just chilling, whatever, and somebody just they walked off with it. You're finding them and taking your property back. The same can apply to this, right? We're not seen as these whole people with feelings and emotions and thoughts. We are this property, these pieces to be exchanged, to be traded, to be utilized, exploited. Right? San Francisco State, 1968. A student-led strike on the campus began November 6, 1968, and lasted 134 days. By the time an agreement was finally reached, students and police had violently clashed many times, and about 500 protesters had been arrested. Over several days, faculty support grew, as did the violence between police and strikers. A midday campus skirmish on November 13, 1968 saw 8 youths arrested and several injured, prompting San Francisco State President Robert Smith to suspend classes. Real quick. 134 days. How many months is that, roughly? 3, 4 months. Let's call it 4 months. Let's call it that. Right? If this strike happened in November, and let's think about like a calendar, right? What's significant about this time of year, November? What's significant about it?
Holiday season.
Holiday season. Give me some examples of these quote-unquote holidays.
Thanksgiving.
Huh? What's that?
Thanksgiving.
Okay. What else?
Christmas.
Christmas. There's one. Hold on. There's one in between this one and this one. Thank you, Black Friday. So imagine. And we can talk about Black Friday.
Black Friday is black.
So look, if this strike begins in November, right, and you're a college student, right, and the strike starts and you're like, okay, cool, right? How many of us do you believe would still be around by the time Thanksgiving and Black Friday comes around? I need my laptop, I need this, I need these shoes. Black people in America spend 80% of our income in the last 3 months of the year. October, November, and December. 80%. So the other 20% we spread over the course of 9 months. And we wait for these 3 months. going to a holiday inn. What does that mean? Things, right? If you're a college student and it's the middle of November and your mama calls and say, hey, you coming home for Thanksgiving? What you gonna say? No, mama, we on this strike. And look, that's a rhetorical. I'm not pressing y'all for an answer like what you gonna say. I'm just kidding. Right? Think about that. Naomi, can you read this for us, please?
Professors are paid to teach, not lead or encourage violent forays. If they refuse to honor the trust our citizens have placed in them, they should look for work elsewhere.
Thank you. This is from Ronald Reagan, who was then the governor of California. This is his response to the strike at SF State, right? Specifically the faculty support aspect, right? It's one thing, and this goes back to what Coleman and Nkrumah was saying, it's one thing for a bunch of black college students to be angry, right, by themselves. It's another thing if they get the support of faculty on that campus. Now it's a problem. Because it's one thing, they just tripping, whatever. Let's invite them to a luncheon, right? Let's host this town hall, right? But it's another thing if those faculty are right in the same boat with those students. This is the response you get, right? So we can see that this movement was not an isolated thing. It wasn't the black college student movement. It was the black campus movement. All aspects of the campus, right? The Orangeburg Massacre, February 8, 1968. This is Orangeburg, South Carolina, right? At South Carolina State. Delano Middleton, Samuel Hammond, and Henry Smith. Some sharp brothers right here, boy. The incident began when approximately 200 students gathered on February 6th to protest the segregation of black patrons at the nearby All-Star Bowling Lane. The first demonstration proceeded without incident. The following night, many of the students returned to resume the protest, but in this instance, 15 of them were arrested. The third night, February 8th, tensions were already running high on both sides from that previous night's arrest. The students gathered on the South Carolina State University campus instead of at the bowling alley this time. They built a bonfire, which a law enforcement officer attempted to put out. In the process, he was injured by a piece of banister thrown from the crowd. A highway patrolman then fired his gun in the air in an attempt to calm the crowd. Upon hearing the shot, thinking they were being fired upon, the police opened fire into the student. Hammond and Smith were South Carolina State University students, and Middleton, a 17-year-old high school student, were killed. 27 other students were wounded. The high death and injury totals came in part because officers used shotguns with buckshot. When they fired into the crowd, many of the victims were shot in their backs or through the soles of their shoes as they ran. And the students were armed. How did this start? All of this. How did it start? Segregation of what? A bowling lane. Kwame Ture says it. For black people to drink water from the same fountain, we had to shed our blood. Right? For us to sit on a toilet next to white folks, we had to shed our blood. Right? All of these different things. For us to go bowling in the same spot for the people, we had to shed our blood. Right? And think about this. A crowd. Nobody's armed, nobody's tripping. They're running away. Right? Police still mold them down. We're not people in their eyes. Right? Why would somebody run away from something? Why? They're scared. There's a fear. Right? And if someone is scared in a particular instance that influences them to run away, does that mean that they then pose a threat to that instance? If I'm a threat, I'm not scared. I am the reason for people to be scared. But if I'm not the threat, I'm scared. Therefore, I'm going to leave the space. Right? You have a crowd of us running away because we are not the threat. And we get shot in our backs and our feet as we run away. These people were killed. Right? All to protest the segregation of a bowling lane not that far from the campus. Right? It's one thing, and I hope we can understand this, is that we have to maintain a vigilance in every space we enter, every space we occupy, even one like this, right? Because we can think, oh, I saw black people in here, right? Everybody's cool, there's a cool vibes, right? But at any point in time, something like this can happen, right? This space inherently is an act of rebellion, an act of resistance, right? Do you think people want us in this space like this? Oh, wow, look at them. They're really talking about black power and woo! Come on now. What we're doing right now is upsetting a lot of people. And not just like, oh, those black people. not in that way. Right? Meddling kids, that's not how they're processing this. They're processing this as an act of war, right? A chess move. Oh, okay. Y'all made y'all move. It's my move now, right? We have to understand the space that we occupy is not one to just take lightly. Woo, ABC yesterday was so fun. Come on now. We're here for a lot more than that.